Alright guys, so today we're going to continue working on our Twitter clone project. In between the last episode and now, I have worked on updating or just a little bit of bug cleanup on the sign up modal. Nothing too special, nothing too crazy. I did get it working for the most part. Everything seems to be working fine. I did add a I did add an object so that when I did add an object so that when here, I'll just show you. So I've got this form values object with the default values, and I basically fixed it so that whenever a part of the form gets updated, this object will automatically reflect those values, and the form. Each form page gets reset whenever you go to the next one or go to the previous one, whatever it is. So I did get that fixed, but we're not focusing on it today. We're going to focus on the sign up modal, or the sign in modal, I'm sorry. So let's jump right into that. First thing we're going to need to do is, or we're going to need is a div, and I'm going to add a class of let's see, it'll be modal container. Alright, and I'm basically, for the most part, just going to copy this this modal here, and we will we'll make it like that. So the next one is the modal outer. We'll have another div with a class of modal dash outer. Alright, and then inside of that, let's see. So inside of that is the header. And let's actually just take a look at Twitter. Go to twitter.com, sign out, log out. Yes, I want to log out. So if we want to log in, not now. So it looks like it's a basic form. All we've got is the header here. We got the Twitter icon here, the header here, the different ways you can sign in, and then you can forgot password, and then a sign up that will take you to this page, which will open up the sign up modal. So this is what we're going to be working on. So yeah, let's just jump right into that. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a another div in here. We're going to give it a class of sign in modal header. Whoops. Alright, inside that div we're going to put another div. Now this is where the icon logo is going to go. We're going to give that a class of sign in modal header logo container. Alright, and then this is where we're going to put the image tag. We're going to have icons slash, I think it's called logo small off-white .svg. All right, and we're going to give that a class of sign-in modal header logo. All right, and then right next to this, we're actually going to have another div with a class of this is where the close thing is going to go, the X to close the modal. Close modal close container. It would be modal close container. All right, and then we're gonna have another div with a class of modal close outer. And this is where we're going to put the image. Let's see. It's going to be icons slash cross icon white .svg, and we're going to give it a class of modal close button. All right, and this we're gonna have a little bit of a different way we set it up. So I'm actually going to add another class to this the modal close container, and we're actually going to have a sign in modal close. Sign in modal close class. I don't have that anywhere else, do I? No, that's just it. Alright, and then I think that's gonna be it for that. Now let's go ahead and work over here on the styling. So I just added this right here so that we know where the sign in modal styles start. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the sign in modal header class. Alright, and then we're going to give that a display flex, and we're going to align items to the center. Alright, then we're also going to give this a position of relative, and we're also going to set the height to 60 pixels because I think the closed modal in total is about 59-ish pixels, something like that. So I'm just going to give it a height of 60 pixels. Alright, and then our next class, we're going to grab the sign in modal header logo. Sign in modal header logo. Alright, and then we're just going to give that a height of about 30 pixels. We can change these values as needed, and we'll give it a width of 30 pixels as well. Alright, that's the logo itself. Now the container that the logo is in, we're going to have to center align that. So we're going to grab the sign in modal header logo container. Logo container. Alright, and then we're going to give it a margin of 0 and auto. Alright, and then we're going to grab the sign in modal close. All right, and we're going to give it a margin of 0. We're going to just reset the margin to 0. All right, we're going to give it a position of absolute. All right, and we're going to give it a top of 12 pixels and a left of 12 pixels. All right, and that should align it 12 pixels from the top and 12 pixels from the left. All right. So now if we swap over here, actually, before we do that, we're not going to do anything. So we're going to refresh, and it looks like the image is broken. So let's see what we can do to fix that. It's probably a typo on the logo class here. So let's see. So it'd be logo small off white.svg, and let's see. That's not what I want. That's not what I want at all. Let's copy that. Let's just copy it and .svg. All right. Now our bird is displaying properly, and our button is displaying properly. It looks like everything is displaying properly as it should. So what is the next step? Log out, log out. Alright, I want to log in. Alright, so we need a header saying sign into Twitter. We need the 2 buttons, and we basically need to set it up kind of the same way that we set it up on the front page. So let's jump over and do that. So let's see. So I think it's going to be outside of the modal header. We're going to have a div, and what kind of class do we want to give that? Let's see. So let's just give it a let's see what modal form outer has for us. Let's go ahead and add that class to that, and we'll see what that looks like. We can always change it or add another class as needed. So the first thing we're going to need is an H2. It's going to say sign into Twitter. And Twitter is capitalized. So the next one is going to be the it's going to be the buttons, and I think I'm going to wrap that into a div of form. Let's see, it's going to be form or sign in form. All right, and then the first one is going to be I'm going to give it a class of Google sign in button. All right, and then we're going to put a button in here. with a class, and we're actually going to do outer or wrapper on this, and then we'll just do the Google sign in button here. All right. Sign in with Google. All right. And then right next to that, underneath that, I should say, we're going to have a sign in with Apple button. We're going to do Apple sign in BTN wrapper. All right. And then we're going to have a button. Oops. Button with a class of it's just going to be Apple sign in button. All right, and then this is going to say sign in with Apple. All right, and then we're going to have our, and for this, I think I'm just going to go ahead and copy what I actually have down here on the main page. And in fact, we probably could copy the majority of this. So we'll do this right here. We'll copy this. This is that that OR separator. All right, we'll save that. And then the next thing we need is a text box, and I should be able to. Let's see. Let's jump back over here. Okay, so I should be able to create a text box. So it'll say phone, email, or username. So let's jump back over here, and let's see. Let's grab this here. This is just for the name for the sign in. That's not what I want. I'm going to close it here, and let's put that right here, and we can get rid of these data labels here because we will not need well, we won't need those just yet. And this will be for sign in user name. All right, and we can get rid of the data label here, and this will be the label itself will say phone, email, or user name. All right, we can get rid of this completely. We don't need that. And then this type is going to be text. This is going to be this right here. So we'll change this and this. And the placeholder is going to be the same as this here. All right, and we can get rid of all of this. All right, so let's see. Let's take a gander and see what that looks like. Okay, not looking too bad. I think we need to change the width here. And I think I can copy those styles from those buttons that we've already created down here. Let's just completely copy those buttons. And we will actually, we'll just copy the Apple button first, replace that with that, save that, and then we will copy this and replace that with that. Alright, now let's go see what those look like. Alright, not looking too bad. I need to change the width of the, I think it's the form outer. I need to change the width on that a little bit. So, and the sign into Twitter is right here. I just haven't added any classes to it yet. Then we'll need a next button, a forgot password button, and a sign up thing at the bottom there. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is actually, we're going to go here, and this is going to be sign in form. Alright. Sign in form outer. Alright, and if I copy that, actually, save that. Now we're going to go over here and close that out. We'll go up a bit to here. 50%. We'll see if that works real quick. See if that is a quick fix for us. And it does not look like it. So let's inspect here. So let's see here. Alright, so if we do this here, alright, so modal form outer. Okay, so we're gonna need to change the width on this itself. Alright, that's what it's looking like. So we'll sign in form outer. Let's go back and find that class. So let's see. So we've got sign in form, and it looks like I did. So it must just be the width issue. Let's see. Alright, so I played around with it a little bit, and the reasoning for my issue here is because on the modal form outer class we have set a minimum width 75%. So to get around that, we're going to override that and set a min width of none on here, and that should override that. Or not a min width of none, but let's set a min width of 0 instead. That should work, theoretically. Alright. Now see, it's overridden that right there. So we've got a max width of 50%. And actually I think I'm going to change that to 300 pixels. I think that's about, I think it's about the same actually. They look almost identical. Alright, we'll leave it at 50% then. So that looks about the right width. And we need to add a class to this, and I wonder why this is got such a big gap. It's because this is set to space between. So let's add another class to just override that, and we'll set the space between to flex start. So if we do that here, flex start, it'll bring everything up, and we can style it properly from there. Because if we look here, we just need to make it a little bit bigger, turn it white, and then we just got to add this stuff here to the bottom. So we will go ahead and do that next. So let's jump over here, and I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, there should be a class on, let's see, there should be a class that is it header text? Let's see what classes are on header text real quick. So yeah, it sets the font size to 1.4 rem, and sets the primary text color. So let's just reuse that class on the on this header here. All right, and let's see what that looks like over here. And actually, I'm going to go over here. Actually, I'm going to go here first. And I think it's the sign. No, it's not the sign-in form. It's the modal outer. Is it? Let me look. Cause yeah. So it's the modal outer div. All right. So let's jump back over here, and we'll add a sign-in modal outer class. All right, and we'll just save that. We'll override those styles down here, and we'll add we'll do justify content flex start. That way it'll override those styles, and it'll come up to the flex start rather than space between, because the other time we did this, we had the 3 separate portions, the header stuff, the form itself, and then the sign in button at the bottom. That's where I'm getting all of these styles and everything from. So now that we've got that figured out, we want to, let's see, we want to go over here to the header text, and we want to add another class called modal header text. All right, get rid of that. Or we'll do sign in header text. All right, save that, copy that. We'll go over here. We're going to set a font size of, let's just start with, I don't know, 2.5 rem, and see where we go with that. So let's go over here and refresh, and actually want to pull up a dev image here. I took these the other day. It's a lot easier than switching through tabs. So that looks pretty good. If might be a little too big, so let's change that down to, let's try a 2.2 rem and see how that looks. We'll refresh that. Yeah, that's looking a little bit better. I'm liking that a little bit more. So now we want to add some margin to the top and the bottom of that. So let's jump back over here, and we'll add a margin, and the top and the bottom is let's say 20 pixels, and we'll do 0 for the left and the right. Let's jump back over here. We'll refresh. And that's looking pretty good. Yeah, so it looks like, let's separate the top and bottom because it looks like we're going to need to use some slightly separate margins. So on the top, we'll keep it, we'll actually bring it down to 18 pixels. The right, 0. The bottom, let's do 25 pixels. And the left, we'll do at 0. And let's jump over here and see what that looks like. So yeah, it looks like it's looking a little bit better. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Looks like it's, for the most part, spaced pretty decently. The same. So yeah, I like that. So let's we've got the buttons, and we need to, it looks like we need to space the buttons a little bit more. And then this here, it looks like it needs to be spaced a little bit further out. I don't know why that isn't taking the entire width, but it needs to take the entire width. And yeah, we'll get the button spacing done first. So go ahead and jump over here and do that. So let's see what let's see. So we'll grab this here, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of margin to the bottom. So we'll do this. We're gonna do margin bottom. I don't know, let's do 10 pixels we'll start out with and see how that looks. So let's refresh here, and maybe a little bit smaller, or maybe a little bit bigger, I mean. So we'll change that to a 15 pixel margin, and we'll see how that looks. It looks decently spaced. I don't see an issue with that. Yeah, it looks good to me. And then the Apple sign-in button, I'm just going to add a little bit of margin, maybe like 3 or 4 pixels, something like that, just to give a little bit more space on the bottom there. So let's jump back over here. We'll grab this wrapper here, and we're going to do a margin bottom 5 pixels. Let's see how that looks. So if we refresh, yeah, that looks a little bit better. It gives just a little bit more space on that bottom there. Alright, so now we need to figure out why this isn't taking the full width of the thing here. So let's check that out. So if we look at that, that's because it's got some margin on the right hand side. Now I want to try to keep the margin on the top the same, but I don't want the margin on the right because we want that to span the entire width of the it's going to be the same width as the buttons. So let's see, what is the margin? So it looks like I've got a margin top set here at 30 pixels. And then where is the right margin coming from is my question. Am I just missing it? Maybe it's coming from a different something. No, it doesn't look like it. It's kind of weird. Why? Let's just add another class. let's just add another class to it, reset the margin. So we want to grab the, what is it, the input label wrapper for that class right here, and we just want to add another class of sign in label. All right, sign in label wrapper. All right, and then we will go down here and add that. We'll set the margin to 0, and that should, and for whatever reason it did not get rid of the right side margin. Not sure exactly why that is. It's kind of strange. Label input. The input is the same width as the parent container. So am I missing something here? That's kind of weird. I don't understand why I've got the margin. Oh wait, maybe it's this width class here. Yeah. Okay, I see. I must have used that for something else. Yeah, I don't know why the width is set to 95%, but we'll set the width to 100%. That's what I'm missing. All right. So reset the margin to 0. Then I want to set the width to 100%. Now let's see, that should fix our issue. Yeah, and it expands the width there. Now I'm going to add margin top back, and I think, if I remember right, this here, right here, it has a default margin top of 30 pixels. All right. So we can actually get rid of that, and it should work perfectly fine now that I've got that width property fixed. Yeah, and it looks like it's added our 30 pixels of margin to the top now. And yeah, that's looking pretty good. It looks like it's got a little bit of extra margin, so maybe we bring that margin down a little bit to let's undo that. Let's bring that margin down to 20 pixels and see what that looks like. Whoops. So if we refresh now, and that is not what I wanted to do. We're going to do a margin top, and we'll refresh that, and that looks a little bit better. It still looks like it's got a little bit of space. Yeah, it still looks like it's got a little bit more space than it should. So maybe we just do 12 pixels. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Let's keep it like that. I like it like that. Alright, perfect. So now we'll grab we'll get the 2 buttons here, and I should be able to let's see. I don't know if I have another. Well, yeah, I do actually. I've got these 2 buttons up here. So let's go back over here, and let's steal one of those button classes. And we can change it a little bit. So let's go down here, and we need a next button and a forgot password button. So we'll just grab the Google button here. Whoops. We'll just add 2 of those buttons there, and I know we're gonna have to style them a little bit, but that looks pretty decent. We're gonna have to add a little bit of margin, and we're gonna change this, of course. And now I'm looking at this, and it looks like the buttons are a little bit bigger. So I might add a class to all of these buttons. Because Twitter doesn't actually, now that everything's going on with Twitter, they don't actually have this home screen anymore. Like, they don't have this whole thing as far as I'm aware. So yeah, let's we'll just add a little bit of margin to that, and then we'll add that down that don't have an account sign up at the bottom. So let's do that next. So this one is just going to be next. All right, and this one is going to be forgot password question mark. All right, now this is going to be button white, and we're going to add a class called sign in next btn. All right, we'll copy that, we'll save that. All right, we'll go over here and we'll add some margin top. Let's do 30 pixels for now and see how that looks. And that kind of looks similar, very similar actually. So yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll have to add a little bit of margin to the top of this button now. And I think I have, oops. Okay, so it looks like I have an MT1 and an MT5. I don't have anything. Let's do a .mt-3 and we'll set the margin top to 30 pixels. Alright, we'll just add that to, we'll remove this here. And we'll add that class, whoops, mt-3 to here. And we will remove this as well. And we'll add a mt-3 class here. Alright, let's check out and see what that looks like. Alright, the button does look a little thick there, so let's actually add this MB-1 class back here to add a little bit of bottom margin to that, and we'll add the MT1 class to this, and that should thin that margin out just a little bit. There we go. That looks a lot better. Now this will look a lot closer once I do add a or change the size of those buttons. Those buttons need to be sized a little bit smaller, it looks like. So we can definitely do that. We'll just add classes to those buttons because they all look exactly the same as far as like sizing. And then let's fix that real quick. So let's jump back over here. We're going to actually fix this. So it's lowercase p, capital F. And then we don't want button white. So let's see if we have another btn class somewhere. So we've got button white. And let's just do this. No. Alright. Let's just add a quick class here called or let's just do a clear BG button, clear background button, so it'll be background of transparent basically. And I'm actually going to add this up here. I'm going to close this out because I don't like that. And then let's find the BTN classes. Alright, and then clear background button, background color of transparent. Alright, and then I can get rid of the button white class, I think. Let's hope. Let's see what that looks like. We refresh, and the button is gone. It is there, but it is gone. So let's see. Do I have another button? I do have another button that looks like this. What is that sign? What is the class on that sign in button? Let's see. So let's actually go down here and the sign in button, I want to grab the classes for that. Okay, so we've just got a border solid white that. All right. So let's grab the, we'll add another class here of forgot PW button. There we go. All right, and save that. Go down here. All right. Nope. And we'll add that border. Save that. All right, and I'm assuming, let's look over here actually. Let's see. So if we hover, it just gets like a slight gray background kind of deal. So if we refresh, we see that button showing up now. And the border looks pretty good. I need to add a text color to that so that we can see the text. So let's see. What kind of text color? Can I use that text what is it? Text muted, I think it is. Let's do text, whoops. Text muted. And yeah, we'll add that class to that as well. We'll save that, and let's go over here and check this out. All right, it's a little light. Actually, wait a minute. I just need to add a text white class to that. It's actually a white text. So let's remove that text muted class. We should have a text white class somewhere. Yeah, right here, the text color class. All right, so we'll add that text color class. Now let's go back over here. We'll refresh, and that looks a lot better. It looks like it needs to be bolded a little bit. Like all the buttons need to be bolded some, and all the buttons need to be brought down in the height a little bit. So what is the height of one of these buttons? So it looks like the height is 45 pixels. So let's try like I don't know, something along the lines of like 38 pixels. So let's grab each one of those buttons, and I'm going to add a new class called small button. No, I don't want a small button. No. What should I name this class? I'll just do smaller button, I guess. I don't know. And we'll add that to this, and we want to add it as well to this button here and this button here. Alright, and on that smaller button class, we're going to add in down here, we'll add a font weight of, let's do 700, see how that looks, and we'll add a height of 38 pixels. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, it looks a little, and in all honesty, and now that I'm looking at it, these two buttons look a little bit smaller than these ones, so maybe I don't want to add that class to these two buttons, rather just these two buttons. Let's try that. Let's remove those two classes from those two buttons and save that. I'm gonna refresh. Alright, now those look a little bit better now. Yeah, that looks a little bit better, and I'm actually going to increase the font size on those, because that looks like we could do that. So let's grab the smaller button class, and we'll add a font size. Actually, what is the actual current font size of those? Font weight, let's see, cursor, margin, font size is setting to the default. So let's start with a 1.2 rem and see how that looks. That looks a little bit better. Maybe we go a slightly smaller. Maybe we do a 1.1 rem. And that might work a little bit better. So let's refresh that. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot more. Now I want to add this down here. This should be pretty simple for the most part. So let's jump back over here, and let's see, we want to be inside of the sign-in form, so it'll be right here, and we'll have a p tag of, let's see what the text is, don't have an account question mark, and then there's a sign up link. Okay, so I'm going to do don't have an account question mark, and then I'm going to add an a tag here, sign up. Alright, let's go over and see what that looks like. We'll refresh. Okay, looks pretty good. Now I just need to add that text muted class onto that. So we'll add a class here of text muted. Alright. And then we will refresh. There we go. Looks pretty good. And it looks like I misspelled don't. What a surprise. Alright. And then I'll add some margin top to that. I don't know. We'll do something like 50 pixels. Yeah, we'll do something like 50 pixels. We'll just add an MT-4 class. Save that. We'll go up here to the top. And margin top 50 pixels. Alright. Let's refresh that, and that looks pretty good if I do say so myself. It looks pretty good. I just need to spell don't right, and that looks like, for the most part, that's pretty gosh darn close, I would say. Of course, it's not perfect, but you know, it looks pretty close. So yeah, let's add let's spell don't right, and I'm going to add a little space there in between the question mark and sign up. I don't know if I want to do 1 or 2 spaces, but so we need to spell don't right, DON''T, and then I'm going to add a little space right there. That should look a little bit better. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Alright, perfect. Now I don't have anything crazy with the next button, so I can just I don't need to gray it out or anything like that. This flow has expired. Please try again. Alright, and it just pops up a little message. Sorry, we couldn't find that account. Okay. Alright, so let's jump back over here. And now we are going to start working on the label itself. So let's do that right now. Alright, so over here we are going to we're going to need to add a couple data attributes here. So we want to grab the label. We want to grab the label, and let's actually see here. Let's jump back over here real quick, and I don't need that, I need this. So if we look at this here, and we set this label to display of flex, yeah. Okay, so we need to grab the label, we need to grab this outer box, and then we need to grab the input itself. So let's whoops, go over here. So we need to grab the label, so it's going to be data sign in username label, and we're also going to need to grab this as data sign in username, and it's going to be so I'll just do data sign in username outer. All right, and then we want the input as well, so we'll do data sign in username input. All right, and we'll save that, and we're going to jump over to the JavaScript here, and we're going to need to add 3 new attributes, or to attributes to our vars. So the first one is going to be the outer, so it's going to be username field. All right, and we'll do a document dot query selector, and we are going to grab this, the outer, and we'll actually change that to field. That way it kind of matches up with the name. Save that, and we'll paste that in there. And username label. So it's going to be document.query selector, and we are going to select the label, and I'll paste that in, and we need to put a comma there, and we need to do username input, and we're going to do, basically just going to copy this, I'll copy this down, I'm going to put input there. All right, so now let me think what's the best way to do this. So I want to, once it's initialized, we have this function here that opens the modal, and this is just the initialization function that initializes the button on the page, to basically gives it that event listener, so that whenever that button is clicked, we start into this here. So we're going to add another attribute, and it's going to be, because there's 2 separate pages, so we're going to load first login page. All right, we'll have this, and we'll have a comma there. All right, and then we want to, whenever it is first loaded, we want to add so we want to select the input field, username field dot add event listener, and we want to wait on the click, and we're going to focus focus user name input. All right, and we need to create a method called that. Whoops. Click there, comma there. All right. Now, whenever we call that function, we want to, what do we want to do? We want to first set the input to have a border color. So what is that style? Let me actually open this up. It might be easier to find. No, there's no border whatsoever in this script. That's kind of strange. let's see, let's find a class list, because I'm sure that there is a invalid input, invalid text color, invalid input, input focused. Is that it? That actually might be it. Let's see. Let's actually go over the styles here. Input focused. Yeah. So that's the class that we want to add right there. So we can close that out. So we want to, whenever the field, the whole box itself, whenever something anywhere in there is clicked, we want to focus that field. So the first thing we want to do is we'll do username input dot focus. All right, and then we want to grab the username label dot, we'll just add the style dot display and set that equal to flex. All right, and then we want to grab the username input again, and we want to select the placeholder and set that equal to null. All right, we'll save that. And then what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to remove this inline style here that I added just for styling purposes. I'm going to save that. All right, and so yeah, so whenever we focus the input, we want to do that. Now I want to also add, whenever we focus, actually before I do this, I want to grab the sign in page script dot, there we go, that way it points directly to that there. So whenever I focus out, so we want to select the username input dot add event listener. We're going to check the focus out. Whenever we focus out of that, we want to run a function that is going to remove those styles. So sign in page script dot so we're going to do focus out username input. All right, and we'll create that method, and oops, that's not what I want. I want a comma there. All right. All right, there's a period there. All right, so we want to then check if username input dot value dot length. All right, so if there is not a value in there, I want to set the placeholder. If there's not a value in there when we focus out, I should say, I want to set the label back to none, and I want to set the placeholder back to phone, comma, email, comma, or username. All right, and then that should fire whenever we focus out. And we'll just add a return statement here. So if there is a value in there, actually, before we do that, I also want to remove the class list. Actually, I'm not even adding the class list. Hang on a second. I'm getting way ahead of myself. So we're going to do username field dot class list dot add, and we're going to add the class list of input focused. All right, we'll add that class list. Now, if there is no length, so there's nothing in there, we want to remove that class list. We want to set the label back to none whenever we focus out, and we want to set the placeholder equal to the default placeholder. All right, and then the return statement will just return if that evaluates to true. And then our else case would be if there is a value in there, then we want to just remove the input focus class, and we should be able to leave that like that, because when we focus out, we remove the focus class. That'll get rid of the blue border. The value inside will automatically overwrite the placeholder value, and we want to keep the label style to none if there is no value in there. So let's save that, and let's go over and take a look over here. Let's refresh. So if we hit sign in, it pops up perfectly fine, and let's see if we have an error. So it doesn't look like it's properly working here, and I don't see an error. So let me see here. Okay, I guess we got a little bit of an issue. So, oh, that's because we are not properly selecting the variables. We're going to do a const vars is equal to this dot vars. All right. So we'll save that, and now we'll do a. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. We'll do a vars dot there, and we'll do vars dot there, and we'll add a this. Oops. There we go. Save that, and now we'll do the same here. Add that there. We'll do vars dot, and we'll select these three here. Vars dot, and we want to do a vars dot there. All right. Now let's see if we get anything over here. So we refresh, hit sign in, and we're still not getting anything. Let's see if we have an error of any kind. We still do not have an error. Let's see. Still aren't getting that script to run. Okay. Let's go over and see what we're having issues on here. So let's get rid of that. Oh, that's because we're never actually calling load first page. So whenever we do that, we need to also call the load first page method. So sign in page script dot load first login page. All right, that way, because all it is doing right now is running this initialize function and you know, adding this event listener, which allows us to open it up, and that's it. All right, so we'll add that load first page script, and that hopefully should work. There we go. Looks good to me. So if we put something in there, we focus out of it, the text stays there, the label stays there, but if we remove everything out of it, the label goes away and the placeholder comes back. That's perfect. Now, we do need a way to close out of this as well. So, we are going to, let's see here. We are going to select that, over here, we're going to select this button here. All right, and we actually want to select this portion of it, so that way you don't have to click on the little tiny X to get it to work. So we're going to find this sign in modal close, and we're going to add a data attribute to it. So let's go and find that. Modal close container. Yeah, sign in modal close. So we'll add the data attribute, data sign in modal close. All right. And we're going to copy that, save it. All right, we're going to add it to our variables. I'm going to add it up here. So it's going to be the modal close. All right, and we're going to do document, whoops, not that, document dot query selector, and we're going to add our data attribute in there and put a comma right there at the end. All right, now when we initialize this page, we also want to add the event listener to that, so that we can close the page even if we don't do anything else. So we're going to do sign in page script dot vars, and then we're going to select the modal close. All right, and we're actually going to add an event listener, and on the click we're going to call the modal close function, which should actually, we're going to sign in page script dot modal close. We'll call that method. All right, and I'm going to put it right here underneath of the open method. So whenever we close the modal, what we want to do is we want to grab the sign in modal. All right, we want to grab the sign in modal, so it'll be we'll do const vars is equal to sign in page script dot vars, and we're going to do vars dot sign in modal dot style dot display. We'll set that equal to none. All right, and then we don't need to worry about the scroll position because that'll be fixed whenever we close it. And we also want to remove the no scroll class from the HTML element. So classlist.remove no scroll. All right. So that should allow us to properly close the modal. So if we click, it closes. If we click again, it opens, and we can close it again. All right. Now there's a couple other things we need to do. First thing we need to do is we need to, let's jump back over here. So when we close it, we want to clear the field. All right, we want to set the field back to empty. All right, and we also want to remove the event listener. So we want to, especially from this button here, we want to remove the event listener from this button and clear this field whenever we close the modal. So whenever we close the modal, we're going to remove everything from this field, and we're going to remove the event listener from that, and we're going to also remove all the event listeners from that. That will be our unload function, or unload method, I should say. So we're going to create an unload first login page. All right, put a comma there. All right, so whenever we close it, we want to call this function first and foremost. So sign in page script dot unload first login page. We'll call that method. And whenever we unload, I will just do all of the removing all the event listeners and removing the values from the field in the unload method. So we'll do, let's find all the event listeners. Let's find all of the event listeners. So this right here, in this initialization function, yeah, so this event listener is a click to open the modal. We do not want to unload that. That is what allows us to open the modal up. So we do not want to unload that, but when we do want to unload this, whenever we close the modal. So we're going to remove event listener. All right. And then let's see. So we don't want that. We've already got that. All right. So we've got the click listener and the focus out listener on this as well that we can also unload. So let's do that. And actually, I'm going to do this. Copy that. And I'm going to paste that into there. Save that. Alright, so now we should be able to change add event listener to remove event listener. Alright, now when we go and refresh, if we hit the sign in button, if we inspect here, let's, oh wait, no, it's down here, event listeners. Okay, so so on this modal close, now see, I think, no, so this, yeah, this event listener right here is the one that should be removed. Now I don't understand why. Oh, okay, I see. So it's just, okay, yeah. So when we click on this button now, if we go back here and we refresh, that click listener is no longer there. All right, so that way we keep our application clean and free of any kind of possible mix-ups with event listeners, so we don't have 100 event listeners on the page all at once. So when we sign in, or we click the sign in button, if we refresh, and that event listener was never added back now, so I cannot close it now. Huh, that's kind of strange. What am I doing wrong? Let me see the console. I don't have any errors in the console. That's kind of a good thing. So whenever we unload it, okay, so load first page, it's calling these event listeners, and those two should fire, right? And then here on the unload, we're only calling unload on the close. So whenever we close it, we should call the unload method. Now I'm not sure exactly why this is not properly working. So we have the click listener on that. If we close it, the click listener is gone. We open it back up. We refresh. The click listener is no longer there. That's kind of strange. I don't understand why it is completely removing it and not adding it back. I would have to say it's because we're in the initialization function, actually. So yeah, so let's do this. We want to add that on the load first page, and then whenever we open the modal, we want to, whenever this event listener is fired, then we want to, so whenever we open the modal, we want to then load the first page. So let's check to see if this actually works. So if we refresh here, hit sign in. Alright, we inspect here. Alright. We've got our click listener. Everything seems to be working. We close. We open it back up. And it's still removing the event listener, and that's because I forgot to save. Allow me to do that real quick, and let's try it one more time. So everything works fine. We close, we open, we can close again, and every time we close, that event listener should be removed. So if we close, we refresh the event listeners and it's gone. We hit sign in again. We refresh the event listeners again and the click is back. And it only has one event listener attached to it. Perfect. Now, I need to log on to the second page, so let's check out the second page here. Let me pull that up. Okay, so when we log on to the second page, this is what it's supposed to look like. So I would say, so it looks like everything for the most part is the same. We have enter your password, and if we'll add the logic later on, but we'll first check to see if we have that username in the database, and if we don't, then we'll display a little message that says, you know, can't find a username. But for now, we're just going to make this work. So we will go ahead and make this work here. So I am going to, let's see here. I am going to go back over here. And let's see. All right, so we need okay, so we basically just need to have this sign-in form. So we will add a style tag or an inline style to this, and add the display none to this. All right, and then we'll add a div here. All right. And we'll add a style here to display of flex. All right. And I'm also going to let's see. Actually, I want to add the display none to that. So let's actually cut this out here, and we want it to be inside of the modal container. We want to be outside of this right here. So that way we're still inside of the modal. We still have the header and everything, but we won't have all of this. So I don't want to add that style to here. Actually, let's do this. Cut that out, and I'm going to add it to here. All right, and that way we still have this here, the header and everything, and then we can add the form fields here and the login button and everything down here. All right, so let's see. First thing I want to do is we're going to put in there as a header, enter your password. All right, so actually before we do that, I actually want to, let's see, and realistically I don't want it here. No, I don't know why I'm doing that. I just want to put it on this here. Oh wait, so yeah, I want the display none on that, and I want a style tag here, display of flex. Alright, now so if we go back over here, we refresh, that should pop up with this now. Alright, that way we can style that properly. So if we have the header, and this, yeah, okay, so this, whoops, this right here, this whole thing right here, from here to here, is not displaying, but this is. Okay, so I want to add a class to this, and what do I want this class to be called? We can do a modal form outer. Alright, and if we look at the styles on the modal form outer class, we will find that we have this. Now I don't really want to do that. Let's actually look to see what we actually want. So I would say we could put this in a container, then we could put this in a container, and we can space them separately. So like it would be, what would it be? Space between a display flex and space between in there. So yeah, I think that would be our best option to do. So instead of having the modal form outer, we'll just create a new class here. Modal form, or let's do a sign in modal form password, something simple like that. Outer. Alright, and then we'll go over here. We'll come down to the bottom here, and we'll add this. Alright, so we're going to have a, let's see, so it actually looks like this is the main one. This is the first one we did, and it doesn't look like it's as wide as this one. So maybe the modal form outer class would actually do us some justice here. Let's do that for now, and we can change it later if need be. That way we're not duplicating a bunch of code. So we'll do the modal form outer. All right, we'll add that class in. All right, and the first thing we want is an h2 tag, and this h2 tag is going to have the header text class on it. So let's do a class with header text, and it says enter your password. All right. Now if we save that and we jump back over here, we refresh, we've got enter your password. Alright, now it looks like it needs to be a lot bigger, so we'll actually go ahead and add another class to that. Login password header. Alright, or let's do sign in, because I think I've used sign in for everything else. So let's do sign in password header, and we will do this font size, and font size, let's try A2 rem. See how that looks. If we refresh, and it looks pretty decent. I think we need to go a little bit bigger, maybe a 2.2 rem, something like that. I'm kind of thinking. So let's try a 2.2 rem here. Let's go back over here, and let's refresh. And that looks a little bit better. Now we need to add a little bit of margin at the top there, so we can space it out a little bit from the header. So let's add that margin. So we're gonna add a margin, and it looks like the margin on the top and the bottom are the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's just do a 20 pixel and a 0 on this and see how that looks. Alright, so it looks like it's looking pretty similar, honestly. That looks pretty good as far as I'm concerned. Alright, so now I want to put this box here, and this box, as far as I know, alright, flow has expired. Alright, we'll do this. Hit next. So it looks like whenever we type something in here, the button just lights up. But if there's nothing in there, then the button is grayed out again. So, and then we've got the show and hide password thing, and then we've got also a link if you forgot your password. Alright, so okay, so we'll go ahead and work on this now. And it doesn't look like you can really do anything with this box. The only thing you can really, yeah, you can't really do anything with this box. They're just showing you the username. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back over here. And let's go back over the code. And let's see. So we want to add a, I want to add a disabled input, and I'm going to make that a wrapper. Alright, and then I'm going to add the disabled input class here, and then I'm going to have the, and in all honesty, I don't know if I really need to have it an input or if I just make it the size of an input without the input. So let's actually grab this input here. Go ahead and grab that there. Alright, and we'll paste that in. We can get rid of all of this stuff. Don't need any of this extra stuff. Okay, so we got username. Alright, and then in all honesty, I could probably do this. Get rid of this, and I could set this with a style of display flex. Alright, that way it should display properly. Alright, now that's okay. Now I need to make that a grayed out color. So I don't want the, and then actually I'll just keep the input in all honesty. Let's do that. And we'll do a style of display flex. Alright. If we go back, it should still be there perfectly fine, like normal. Okay. So, and actually, I accidentally misspelled flex, so yeah, there we go. Okay. Now, I want to add the class of disabled input wrapper. Alright. Alright, so if I save that, I want to now, so this wrapper is the whole thing, so I want to make that background color that disabled color. So let's jump back over here and see what color that actually is. Let's pick up a color, that color right there. Alright, and it looks like it's a it's like a lighter color of black. Alright, so we'll go back over here to the code and we'll set the background color to this color right here, and I'm assuming we're going to need to add some transparency to that. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Now let's just add some text in there. Let's just add some text in there, and I'm going to actually get rid of the placeholder because I don't feel that it's needed. Alright, and then we're going to add a value of, we'll just put my name in there for now. Alright, now let's refresh and see what that looks like. Okay, so kind of just what I figured. So I want to add the disabled class, I want to add the disabled attribute, disabled, to this over here. Alright, now if we refresh that, alright, now I can't use it. Now all I need to do is change, let's do, whoops, that's not what I want at all. Let's do this. Alright. I kind of want to get the color of that that text. That right. Whoops. Oh my goodness. Come on now. Really? Alright. Zoom in a little bit. And let's grab the color of that text. Okay. Looks like that's a text color of that. Alright. So let's jump back over here, and I want to add a, I think if I just target disabled input wrapper, okay, so disabled input wrapper has that background color, okay. Let's add a class on here of disabled and disabled label, and we'll add a class on here of input. Okay, so we'll have disabled label and disabled input. Label, color, that color, label, and we'll do the exact same for disabled input. Alright, so if we go over here and refresh now, okay, so the text looks good. The disabled label, though, on the other hand, is not looking so good. So let's see if we can figure out what's wrong with that. So let's just copy this and make sure that we've got the right spelling here. Alright. It looks like we have the right spelling. So I'm assuming that's just a I'm assuming that's just a an issue with let's look. I'm assuming it's an issue with the way that the elements are being displayed, or the hierarchy, whatever it's technically. Now see, it's showing that it has that color, but Oh, that's because I never added it to the correct thing. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, let's fix that then. So if we add the disable label to here, now if we refresh, it shows up as disabled. Alright, perfect. Now I also want to add a class that for, actually let's go back over here. Let's look at this here. So this here, this modal form outer, I want to add a, so I want to keep the styles for that, but I want to add another class where it adds flex direction column to that, so that way it stacks on top of each other. So let's do that. So on this here, this is, we'll just add a flex COL. And do I actually already have a class? It looks like it. Let's see if that will work. Alright, so that, yeah, it looks like it works perfectly fine. Alright. So now, the only thing it looks like I have left, I need to remove that border, it looks like. I don't want to have that border. So let's remove that border there real quick. And let's just add a class called border none to this here. Border none. Alright, and we'll save that. Copy that and save that. And we'll go down, we'll go up over here to where a lot of our default classes are at, and I just want to find here. Let's go right here. Border none, and we'll just add the border none to that. Now if we go over here and we refresh, it doesn't look like it's removed the border. And let's see why that might be. So the border none class is being overridden, and I'm assuming it's due to this here, would be my guess. Let's see, so we've got a border radius on that, but we don't really have a border. I'm not seeing a border on there. Maybe I'm crazy. Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. Yeah, so we just want to remove that border, it looks like. So I don't know what the best way to do that would be. I'm willing to bet it's because okay, let's go down here and add that border none. Let's see if that makes a difference, because I'm thinking that's what the problem is. So if we go back over here, and yes, the border is gone. So yeah, that was our issue. So we just added to the bottom there. That way, that way we don't have to worry about that. Now, next thing I want to do is work on the password box. So, and let's see. I actually I want to I actually want to surround this in a div here. Hopefully that doesn't break everything. That way I have separation between the top portion where the labels and stuff are and the bottom portion where the login button is. So let's save that and let's see if that's going to affect anything. It looks like it affected a little bit of margin, but that's okay. We can go ahead and add that back in. On let's add on here, let's add a class called MT. Do I have an MT2 class? I'm not 100% sure if I do. Nope, doesn't look like it. So we'll add a MT1 class. I know I have that class. And now see, yeah, that actually affected the header as well. So maybe I want to remove the header out of there. Let's remove the header out of there. And I'm actually going to cut this off of here. And I'm going to add it to here. And the reason... Actually, no, I don't want to do that. I lied. I don't want to do that. So, let's see. I want... No, I can do that. Yeah. Because this is going to contain... This can contain all of the... Basically, I'm going to copy this here. And it, yeah, so I can add that back in and remove that from there. So let's see the result of that. So it looks like, actually, no, what? So those went side by side. Okay. So we'll go back and we'll actually add that flex direction column to here, and we'll keep that as we'll put a flex direction column there as well, and then inside of this we'll just have this div that contains the username label, and another div which I'm actually going to steal from here because it's got a lot more of the information that I need. Alright. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. And now I'm just thinking, because I kind of want this to be inside of this again, just simply because it's going to mess everything up whenever I want to separate the top portion here from the bottom portion where the login button is. So I'm actually going to put that inside there, and let's see what that does really, because okay, so we just need to add a little bit of looks like bottom margin to this. So let's check this out. So we got this here, and this is the outer form. All right, this has got the margin on the top, let's remove that margin there. We'll remove that margin there, and we'll add a little bit of extra margin to this, to the bottom of this, in fact. That way we kind of get that a little bit of separation still. So yeah, let's do that. Let's go over here, and we'll remove on here this MT1 class. All right, we'll go back over here and see how that looks. Okay. So those are looking pretty similar. Now, like I said, I just need to add a little bit more bottom margin to this here. And I think I'm going to add some bottom margin to this one as well, to give that a little bit more separation there. So let's go back over here, and on this, we'll add an MB1 on there and see how that looks. It doesn't look like it's actually done anything, truthfully. Okay, and it looks like it hasn't done anything because I've got this class here. So let's actually go into that class. We'll remove the MB1 class, and we'll go into that class, and we'll just separate the top and bottom margins. So first thing we want to grab is this. We want to get rid of that. No longer need that. Now I want to find this class here. We'll hit the find button, and we'll go down. Yep, there it is. And we'll keep the 20 pixels of margin on the top. The right is 0, and I think we're going to do 25 pixels of margin on the bottom and 0 margin on the left. So let's go back over here and see what that looks like. Now it looks like it bumped that down just a little bit. I think I need to add a little bit more margin to that. Maybe we go up to a 30 pixel margin on that. And let's refresh, and that's looking a lot better. Yeah, I think I could bring this up just a little bit, so take a little bit of margin off of the top there. So maybe we do 15 pixels of margin on that. We refresh that. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. That's looking a lot better. Alright, and then we'll add some bottom margin to this. That way we have that little bit of extra separation right there. I don't know, maybe about 10 pixels or so. Let's go ahead and try adding a little bit of margin on that. So I'm going to want to grab the bottom of this div here. So it's going to be the input label wrapper, disabled input, border none div. And I think sign in label wrapper, let's find that here. So I want to make sure that I'm not messing anything else up. So it looks like I have that here as well. Let's just add another small class to here, and in fact, sign in label wrapper, input label wrapper. Yeah, we'll add another class. I wonder, I don't know. Okay, I'll go ahead and add, let's try to add an MB1 class on here and see if that does anything. I can't remember No, it doesn't. That's right, because I have the border. Yeah, no, it does add the bottom margin to it. So maybe I change that a little bit because it doesn't look like it did really much. I wonder if I could add MB2 class here. I don't think I have an MB2 class. I don't think I do. No, I do not. 3. So I do have an MB3 class. It's got 30 pixels of margin though. I don't really like that. So let's create that MB2 class, and let's actually do MB2. Alright, and then we will actually add, let's say 18 pixels. So margin bottom, 18 pixels. Let's see what that does. Actually, I need to add that class. Actually, no, I've already got that class on there. Okay. So let's see what that does. And it looks like it spaced it out pretty well. I could do with a little bit more margin though, honestly. Maybe another 6 or 7 pixels, something like that. So let's see if we can actually use an MB3 class and see if that will help us. Because I don't want to get too close to the 3 using the 2 class. Now see that. That looks pretty good. It doesn't look too separated, but it doesn't look not separated enough. Now I feel like we could do the MP2 class with about 25 pixels. So let's do that. Whoops, 25. Let's save that and see what that looks like over here. Now it brings that back up a little bit, and that looks almost exactly the same, I would think. I think that is pretty much perfect on that. So we'll keep that way. And then yeah, we're going to have to have that that little button there, which is a slight pain to implement, but it's no big deal. Then we're gonna have to have this here. All right, so let's get those worked on next. So let's go ahead and right after this here, inside of this div still, I'm just going to have an anchor tag, and this anchor tag is going to say forgot password question mark. Question mark. All right, and then we are also going to need to add a little bit of left padding. I'm pretty sure I've got some padding somewhere here. I think it's the, let's see. Alright, let's do this. Let's do a .ps1 for padding start 1. And we're going to add some padding. To the left. 7 pixels. Alright, and I know that's exactly how much it is. So it doesn't look like it actually added that, whoops. It doesn't look like it actually added that class. Let's check it out here. So And that, I think that's because I actually didn't add the class to the element. That's exactly what it is. Class is PS1. Alright, now let's see if that works. And that, yeah, that lines that up perfectly with that right there. Yeah, it lines up perfectly with that. So the next thing we're actually going to have to do is work on that the show and hide password button. Now, I've already done this before, so I should be able to steal my homework from there. So if we go back into this password label here, and I think I should be able to just copy this and add this in right here. Let's see what that looks like whenever I add it in. And that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted right there. Maybe I could add a little bit of extra padding on the right and the bottom, or more specifically, I think it's a position absolute. Yeah. So if I add some right 10 and bottom 10, that'll bring it a little farther out from that border. So that should be our next move. Let's show and hide password button, and I'm actually going to remove this data class here because I just don't need it yet. I'll add them in as I need them. Yeah, and all these data classes here, they can kind of just go, really. I don't really need any of them because I'll add my own individual data classes as needed. I don't want to have a bunch of extra data attributes if I don't need them. So this here, we're going to add a class, and actually I think we should just go ahead and change this class itself because that's only on that other button here, and it should look nearly identical. I think it should be a pretty much identical button. So let's go to that class and let's just change this to 10. Now I know I've already done this already, but I think that'll look a little bit better. Yeah, there we go. Looks a little bit better. Maybe I do 7 on the bottom and the side. Well, let's do that. Let's change that down to 7 instead of 10. Just because it looks like it. It looks like it should. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I like that. Let's keep that way. Alright. Now, I know we'll have to add the JavaScript in for that. That's pretty simple to do. So let's actually, this should all be inside of one container. Now I'm going to separate that so that I have the login button at the bottom here. So let's do this. Nope, not this one, but this one. No, I lied. It's this one. Yeah, this is the one I want to separate. So I want to add another class here, or another div here, and this class right here, we're actually going to give it a we're going to do a space justify content space, which I think is a space between attribute. If I refresh and I inspect, now it should be this one here, or no, it's this one right here. Space evenly. Okay, that's not what I want. So let's go back here, and we will actually change this to a space between class. We'll save that, and I'm going to copy that, and I'm actually going to put it up here with all of this other stuff. Then we're going to justify content space between. Now, that really shouldn't change any of the content that is still on the page. So yeah, so that div is down there at the bottom. All right, and that's where we're going to put that login button at. So we'll do that right now. So let's go over here. Now, I've used this button here before, so I should be able to reuse this button right here, theoretically at least. Alright, so let's jump back over here and let's refresh, and it looks pretty much perfect. I like it. Yeah, and then I can put at the bottom underneath of it, don't have an account, sign up, and I'll need to change the inner text too. But yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, perfect. So let's underneath of here, I want to add a p tag, and then put don't have an account question mark, and then I'm going to put an a tag here and put sign up. Alright, now let's save that and let's go back over here and refresh, and it looks like it looks like I want to add a flex direction column on this. Alright, so if we refresh that, okay, so I don't understand why that is. Let's jump back over to the code. Let's add a class of align start. Alright, and then I think I should be able to do a align self flex start. Now I don't know, I'm not too familiar exactly how this works, so yeah, it looks like it worked okay. It didn't work perfectly though. That's not what I wanted. So let's not actually do that. So let's actually, what actually is on this? What's actually on this class here? So I've got this modal wrapper. So it looks like I've just got some margin bottom. Now if I remove the, okay, so the align item center is actually doing something. It doesn't look like the justify center is doing anything though. So it looks like this is just the wrapper, so I should be fine to remove that class there. And then I would just basically need to center align everything. So let's try to do that. So let's remove this class here, modal button wrapper, and okay. Okay, we'll save that, and what I'm actually going to do is we're going to have the sign in button here. Alright, save that, and let's do this. So on the sign in button, I want to save that. On the sign in button, I want to set the display to inline block, and then I will set the margin to 0 and auto. Alright, now let's go over and see what's that's actually done. Alright, so it looks like it's squished it a little bit. Maybe I'm probably going to need to set the height of that button. So what is the actual height of that button? Let's go into here. Let's go into here, and it looks like the height is set to 60 pixels. And I think the height on this is actually set to 40 pixels, I believe. Looks like it's 36 pixels in height. So let's statically set that height of that button to 60 pixels. Alright. Now if I refresh, that looks a little big. So instead of 60, instead of 60, I'm going to try a 50 and see how that works. Alright, and let's jump back over here, refresh, and that looks a lot better. That looks a lot better on the height. Now I need to center align the button. Now my question is, so let's actually set the width is set to by default it's set to 100%. So let's see if we can center align that that button. See, but I don't know. Let's see. I want to be able to center align that button, but now okay, so let's kind of duplicate this a little bit. Let's do a width of 75%, and then set the margin to 0 in auto. Let's do that. So I want to do that on the sign in button wrapper, right? Okay, so we'll copy that, we'll add that here, and we'll do a width of 75%, and we'll do a margin 0 auto. Let's see if that does anything for us here. Okay, it does look like it has done something. Now, yes, it looks like it has center aligned that. Now that button, I want to change that button's width to 100%. So the sign in button, I want to set that, the width of that to 100%. Alright. So let's do that. Let's do a width of 100%. Alright. Okay, so that looks like it is now spanned clear across that. It's the same width as the outer container, or the stuff above it. Now this here, it looks like it has, yeah, so it's in the right spot. I just now need to add a little bit of margin on the top to give it a bit of space from that button there. So let's do that now. And I'm actually going to also I don't know if I need this class or not now. Let's check to see if it breaks it. It does not look like it has broken it. Alright, perfect. So now I can go back over and I'll add a class on here. I want to do the text muted class, which gives it that grayed out kind of effect there. Now I wonder, I'd like to put some padding on there, or some margin. Let's do an MT. I wonder what the MT classes are. So I've got an MT3, which 30 pixels looks like it would work pretty well. So let's do that. Let's give it an MT3 class, and let's refresh. And it looks like it has pushed it all the way to the bottom, basically. Now this here, I'll see, that looks fine. Let's take this, and I'd like to bring it up just a little bit. So wonder how the best way to do that would be. Let's see. Sign in button wrapper. Let's go all the way down to the bottom here. So let's actually let's do a -10 pixels for that. That way it should bring everything up just a little bit. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. I think we could do 15 on that. So let's change that to a 15 and see how that looks. I did bring it up some more, and it looks almost exactly the same height as that button. So that's perfect. And I think this just needs to come up just a bit, maybe like 5 pixels or so. So let's bring that up about 5 pixels. Don't want the script. So let's see, where are my MT classes again? So let's do an MT, well, let's do an MT2, and I will add that as 25 pixels of padding. Okay. So we'll do that. And let's refresh that. And actually, I did not want that because I just want the padding top. There we go. So let's refresh that. And now that looks pretty similar. I have to say that looks pretty good. That looks to be pretty good as far as I'm concerned. Now we just need to work on the, actually I need to change this text to login. So let's see. So on the last one, let's actually go back over here. I'm going to close out of this image because I don't think I really, I'll probably open it back up here in a second, but what I want to do is see, no, because that button will be fine like that. Let's change that. Instead of having it next, we're going to do login. All right. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So we'll do login. Jump back over here. And yeah, they look very, very similar as far as I'm concerned. Look pretty gosh darn good. So now that we have that, we need to work on this in the JavaScript. So let's go back over here. I want to remove this style class, all right? And this right here, I don't see, let's see, so if I refresh, so that's still showing up. Now this style here, I think, yeah, I'm using that to always display the username in the username field. So this, whoops, let's do a, don't remove inline style. Okay, we'll keep that there like that. That way I know not to remove that inline style. And now this right here, I need to, whoops, I want to save that. And I want to remove this style class as well. Okay, now that should, whenever we refresh, close that, I can open that up. Okay, so it looks like I need to add a display of none on that second form, the second form element. So let's, it's this one right here. So let's add a d-none. All right. All right, and then this sign in form. Okay, so there shouldn't be any styles. All right, that should be right. So if I refresh this now, and that is not right. Let's do a block. Let's try that. Okay. Now this button needs to also not display. So I kind of want to, I kind of don't like that it's still displaying. Let me put that in there just for now. I'm gonna see what that does. So if I can't go to the next page, hang on. I need to set a, make this a none, and then I want to change this to d-block. Alright. If I refresh. Okay, now I'm really messing everything up. So alright, so this starts this class here, and I think I set it as a flex instead. So let's refresh that, and it's still coming up like that. That's simply because something about the displaying of the modal, I think. It might be something to do with displaying the modal. Right. And refresh. Okay, now I'm completely screwing things up. I do not want this to happen. So maybe it would be in my best interest to remove that, save that, and save that. All right. Set a none on that, and we'll also set a none on this. It'd be a little bit of extra code in the JavaScript, but it should be a lot easier to do everything. So let's jump back over here. The first thing we want to do is actually check to make sure, actually, we're not going to even check to make sure. We're just going to add a click listener to that next button, because whenever we hit that next button, we're going to send a request to the server to check to see if that username exists. And if it does, then we display the next page. If it doesn't, then we display a little message at the bottom that says cannot find that username, or what username does not exist, or whatever. So I'm just gonna add a click listener to that button right now, and I am just go whenever it's clicked, we will just go to the next page. That way we don't have to worry about checking the values and everything like that. So let's do this. In the first page, I want to select that button. So let's see what that button is. So this button right here. So we want to add a data attribute to that. So let's go back over here and add a data attribute to that. So that button is right here. So this is going to be a data sign in next button. All right. And with that data attribute, we can put that in our variables. Sign in next button. All right, and we're going to do a document dot query selector. All right, and we'll select that. All right, so sign in next button. And I also want to select the second page for this. So if we, we want to add a data attribute to this so that we can hide this, and then we can display this. So whenever that button is clicked, we want to set a display none on this. And actually, modal form outer, I want to actually add that as a class. I don't know if I can. I might have to just do it as inline styles. D-block. Alright. I think D-block is a class. If I refresh, and I have the class of D-block, I'll see. Doesn't look like there's a class. Let me. I don't know what. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive I have a D-block class. I do not. What? Okay. I guess I will add a D-block class. It's the only one I don't have. Whoops. It's going to be a display of block. Alright. Now let's make sure that doesn't freak anything up now. It shouldn't. So now that D-block, okay, yeah, so that D-block is displaying that as a block item. Okay. So it by default is a block item. So I will hide that whenever that next button is clicked and display this, along with displaying the button as well. So I'll have to clean up the next page. I know there's something messed up on it, but for now, let's just select. So we'll select this, not that, but this here. Data, sign in page 1. Alright, that's an easy one. Alright, and then let's see, sign in first page, document dot query selector, and we'll do that. And then I might as well add a data attribute to the. Might as well add a data attribute to this as well. Data. Sign in page 2. Yeah, so we've got the data sign in page 1 and data sign in page 2. And then I also want to data login button. All right, I'm gonna save that, and I'm going to make this second page, and we'll do this, and we'll do a sign in btn, and we'll do a document.query selector, putting that in, and let's grab that data attribute and let's paste that in there. Perfect. All right, so whenever we load the first page, I'm going to add that event listener. So I want to add the event listener to the next button. So it'll be vars.this.add event listener, and it'll be a click. All right, and then we're gonna load second page. All right. So whenever that next button is clicked, we are going to load the second page. Now, just for simplistic reasons and for the simple fact that there is no back button on this, it's only to close it. I'm actually not going to unload that first page whenever I display the second page. I don't think I actually have a reason to, truthfully, because if we look, we're unloading the second page. We're removing the event listener from the modal close, and then we're just removing a couple click listener and a focus out listener. That's it. We don't have anything else that might conflict with the second page. So maybe we just leave the first page loaded, and that should be fine. Yeah, I think we'll do that. So we'll do the load second page here, and it's going to be a method, and I'll put that there. So when we load the second page, the first thing we want to do is hide the first page and display the second page. So we want to first off grab the sign in first page. All right, and we're going to do const vars is equal to sign in page script dot vars. All right, and then we want to add vars to there. Dot sign in first page dot class list dot remove d dash block. All right. So when we load the second page, the first page we're going to remove the d dash block, and we're going to vars dot sign in first page dot class list dot add. We're going to add d dash none. All right, and then on the vars dot sign in second page, we're going to dot class list dot add d dash block, and vars second page dot class list dot remove d dash none. Okay, perfect. now let's see if that worked. So let's refresh. Okay, so I don't get anything on the click. It looks like I have an error though. Load second page is not defined. Okay, that's a typical issue with me. So we want to select load first page. Okay, so we want to do sign in page script dot load second page. All right, let's see if that works now. Okay, so this is the issue that, so it says it's found 3 elements with non-unique IDs. Sign in username, sign in username. Okay, so it did fail to load. Oops, that's not what I want. Go away, go away. So did I not add the data attribute to the right thing? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. So, I need to move this data attribute up to here. Okay, so let's do that. So let's grab this data attribute here, cut that out, and paste it right there. Alright. Now let's refresh, hit sign in, we go next, and surprisingly there's no issues. That still works. It's going to be broken. That's surprising that it's not even broken. Okay, so I think to make this a little bit easier, I am actually going to go down here and I think, yeah, I think I'm going to change this to a form element. Yeah, that should be fine. I've got, the only thing that's not inside of that form element is the submit button, which I don't want it to be. And that's another thing. I need to also display the submit button. So let's go back here and make sure we didn't mess anything up with that, displaying that form element. So I refresh, I hit sign in, I hit next, it displays this, and I need to display the bottom portion. So let's go back and make that happen first. So when I load the second page, I also want to grab the sign in button, and I want to do vars dot sign in button dot class list dot remove d-none. All right, and then vars dot sign in button dot class list dot add d-block. All right, so let's go back over here and refresh. We should now, okay, so I knew there was going to be an issue somewhere with that page. So let's see what we can do with this. So that form is there. So it does need to be outside of that form. So let's see, or outside of that one div. So whoops, it should be here. All right. So if I refresh now, I hit next, and okay, it looks good now. I just forgot here, this was inside of here, and I moved it outside of this div because I was playing around. I forgot to move that thing out. Alright, so now we refresh, we hit the next button, alright, and it looks like everything comes up fine. Alright, so now I've got that form element, and the reason that I put that form element in there is to make it easier to submit. So I'm going to put an action on there of slash login. Alright, and then I'm going to do a method of post. Alright, because it's going to be a post method sending to slash login. Alright, and then the other thing that I need to do is when we display the load, whenever we load the second page, I want to set the value of the input, the sign in input, wherever you put the username. I want to set that value in the username field that's disabled on the password page. So so let's do that. Let's whenever I load the second page, we want to take the value that's stored inside of the sign in here, in this input. So data sign in username input. Alright, so let's grab vars dot username input dot value. Actually, I want to first grab that second input so I can set it equal to that. So I want to go back over here, and I want to go down to this input here, and we're not going to have any value by default. We're going to do data sign in password, or data sign in page to username, something like that. Alright, save that, and we will go up here and we will do sign in second page USN. Alright, document dot query selector, and we'll put that there. Alright, saving that in that variable. So now when we load the second page, we can take vars dot that value, or that there dot value, and set it equal to vars dot username input dot value. Alright, so that way if we refresh, we click next, and that field is empty. But if we refresh again, we hit sign in, I put something in there like my name, it should show up now. Perfect. Perfect. So yeah, so Now, I want to check the, I want to add the, I want to focus that, so we're going to do focus password input. Alright, and then I want to grab when okay, and then we can do this, and sign in page script dot vars. All right. Now the username label, username input, and username field. Now I want to add data attributes to those. I want to add data attributes to the password or data password field. All right, and then we're going to do data password label, and on the input we're going to do data password input. All right, we're going to select those three in the JavaScript now. Password field, and we're going to set that equal to document.query selector. It's going to be data password field. All right. Password label, and password label is going to be label here, label, and input is going to be input here. All right. Now, when we're going to do password label, the placeholder that is going to be password input, and this will be password field. And then I want to do the exact opposite whenever I focus out. Focus out. So yeah, I want to check if there is a vars dot password input dot value dot length. All right, and then we will grab this. So if there is no password length, we're going to hide the label. We're going to set the placeholder back to password, right? Is that right? Yes, that is correct. we're going to set the placeholder back to password, and I actually just noticed I didn't do that in the HTML, so I'll have to go back and do that real quick here in a second. And then we're going to add, or we're going to remove the input focused on that. And then we're also going to return. All right. And if there is a value in there, we will just remove the input focused, and that is it. So we focus it, we unfocus it. We want to add those two event listeners. So it'd be login or sign in page script dot no. So I want to add the focus in and the focus out to the input itself. So it'd be vars dot password input dot add event listener, and on the focus in we are going to sign in page script dot focus password input, and oops, that's not what I want. We're going to do a focus out on that, and this is going to be, instead of focus in, it's going to be focus out. Alright, so now that we have that done, we also need to select the, I have to say, I've been learning React, and React is so much better than this. It makes it so much easier. But I'm going to continue this with just JavaScript. So, anyway, we need to also select the display password thing. This right here. Data show hide password. Alright. And then save that. And we will go here. Show hide password. Document dot query selector. We'll do that. All right. And we will add a click listener on that. Whoops, nope. I want to grab this. Show hide password. Add the vars dot in front of it. Dot add event listener. So on the click, I want to on the click I want to show let's do sign in page script dot show hide password. Alright, and then we'll create a method down here that is show hide password. Alright. Now we are going to grab the the password input. Alright, actually, real quick, while we're here, it's actually of type text by default. I want to change it to password. Save that. Alright, so we're going to check. First, we're going to grab this and do this. Then we're going to check if vars dot password input dot type. Is it type? Let me go back over to the other script and see. Let's see. So it'd be password show hide password. Yeah, if it's type is equal to password, okay. Type is equal to password. If the type is equal to password, I want to do vars dot password input dot type is equal to text, and then I want to grab the grab that button, show hide password, no, vars dot show hide password, and then I want to change the source dot src, right? That's the way it is. Yeah, dot src, and set that equal to icons slash what is it, hide password, right? Hide word dot svg. Okay. Now if vars dot password input dot type is equal to text, I want to do the exact opposite. Whoops. God dang it. Copy, paste. There we go. Password, and this is going to be a show password. Okay. So that event listener is added to that. Now, I'm trying to think what else I need to do. I don't know what else I need to do. Let's play around with it and see what happens. Hit sign in, hit next. Alright, we'll display that. That looks good. Alright, I click and I might have an error. I don't have an error, but I might have issues because these three inputs, it looks like, have the same ID. So let's change that. Let's change that. So let's see here. So it's showing that I have three elements, including the username input on the second page, the password input on the second page, and the username input on the first page. It's probably just because I copied and pasted it. Let's find sign in username. Okay, so let's find all of that. Let's go to the top. Okay, so this is the original one. Okay, that will be fine. This one, we're just gonna add a 2 to the end of that, and we're gonna have a 2 to the end of that, and we're gonna have a 2 to the end of that. All right, and this is going to be the password field. So this is going to change from username to password. This is going to change to password. This is going to change to password. All right. Now if we refresh again, we hit sign in, hit next, everything seems to be working fine. Need to bring my thing over here. I don't have any console errors. Okay, so if I inspect this, do I have the event listeners on that? No, I do not. So that must mean that I must not be calling that function somewhere, or I must incorrectly be calling it. I'm actually just, let's see. So it looks like I don't see any crazy errors. Am I loading the second page? That's the question. Am I calling this function anywhere? Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, so whenever I hit that next button, I call the load second page. So maybe it's just an issue with the naming. Handler. Let's change this to handler. Alright. Let's see if that's our issue. Sign in, hit next. Okay. Okay, so it's still looking like that event listener is not being added. And it looks like I do have a error. Okay, so let's. My ancient handler was lowercase. I just uppercased it. Okay, we're still not getting that handler. Why are we not getting that? Why it's not adding that event listener at all? Just trying to figure out why that's not. That event listener is not being added to that. Not being added to that that function. It's not being added to that element. Data show hide password. Maybe it's a naming error. Let me check to see, make sure I got everything named correctly. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. So we're accidentally selecting the first one only. So let's change this to login, data login show high password. Save that. And we'll change this to login show hide password. Alright. So I find that it's only there, and that's the only one there. Alright. So now let's see if that works properly. Now, so we hit next, and it's still not working. What a surprise. Okay, so it does have the click listener on it. I don't have a console error. So it's being handled by the show hide password handler. Alright. Now at least the handler is being added. Let's check to see. Oh, I see what's happening. If we hit 1, we need to return. There we go. Let's refresh and see if that return statement helps. There we go. Now it's working properly, and the icon is being updated. properly. Alright, now, the only other thing that I foresee we need to do is when there's a value in this box, we need to highlight this button. So that should be pretty simple. When we're going to log in btn. Alright, we'll add that there, and we'll add a vars dot sign in button dot add, or no, I don't want to do it on the sign in button, but rather the password input dot add event listener, and it's going to be an input, and show login button. Alright, so it's sign in page script dot show login button. Now we're going to check if there vars dot if, and we want to select the vars vars dot password input dot value dot length. If there's a length, then I want to set the vars dot sign in button dot disabled equal to false, and turn yeah, so GTH H apparently my H key doesn't want to work. So if there is no password input dot length, then I want to set that to true. Else case, I want to set it to false. Alright, let's jump back over here, refresh, hit sign in, go next. So if there's a value, no, it doesn't look like it's working yet. Let's see if we have an error. Doesn't look like we have an error, so let's go back over to the code and see what is going on here. So show login button, so it's saying if there's no length, we want to set the sign in button disabled to, oh wait, no, we want to set the sign in button dot disabled to true if there's no value in that field, and I want to set it to false if there is a value in there. Let's see. Let's see here. So I've got the input here. Show login button. So I've got that listener. I don't understand what the issue could be here. Let's see. So vars dot password input dot add event listener input, and then we're calling the function here. So if password input dot value dot length, if there's no length, password input dot value dot length sign in button dot disabled is equal to true if there's no length to the value in that. If there is, then we set the disabled state to false. Alright. I don't understand what's going on here. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I see the issue. I see the issue. The login button data attribute is on the wrapper, not the button itself. Okay. That's an easy fix. We'll just, let's see. We'll go down here. Data login button. Data login button field. Okay. So now, if I search for this one here, oops, that's not what I want. Alright. Alright, document dot query selector Alright, that should be right. Data login button. Data login button. Okay. Sign in button. Sign in button. Alright. Now let's see if that works. So we click next, and it highlights. If there's a value in there, it highlights. If there's no value in there, it doesn't highlight. Perfect. Alright, sounds like we've got a winner here. I think that's just about it for this video. If you did like, slap a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more of this content. I will be uploading more, so keep an eye out for that. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.